And we're in for another fast, 72 hours. And right now we are a little over 50 hours in this week's fast as we are putting our diabetes in remission, as we are improving our metabolic health and improving all of those things that we talk about here on the channel. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, that's right, new year, new you. I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to put their diabetes in remission, get off of medication, who want to improve their metabolic health. And I am glad that you are here. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that we're glad that you're here. If you have questions, go ahead and put those in the comments as well. Make sure you put a Q in front of it so that we'll know that that is a comment that we need to look at as we move through this space, as we are working to answer those questions, and we can get those as we move in. Whatever platform you're joining us from, LinkedIn, Twitch, Instagram, what else are we on? Facebook, and of course here on YouTube. I welcome you, and I'm excited that you are here in this space as we are moving through the new year, new you process. I do see some of our community members. We'll give a shout out here in just a minute. If you've not already done so, we've been working on improving our metabolic health, and we've got I don't even know how many shows now that we've done over the course of the year as we move through this process. The New Year, New You journey, all of those shows are in the playlist, and it's called How to Reverse Your Diabetes. And I think there are 50 of those shows right now because we've done one show a week. And for the How to Fast Successfully, now we've probably done close to 200 shows. That's right. Can you believe it? 200 shows as we've walked through the course of the New Year, New You process. So we'll talk and we'll do a little setup and talk about what we're doing, why we're doing, and what we're doing in this space. So we will do that in just a minute. But let's hop over and let's say hello to some of our community members. I do see some folks over there. I see Steve, and Steve is saying hello. Hey, Steve, glad that you were here hanging out with us. David Hunt is in the house. Hey, David, how you doing, man? Thanks for stopping through. And David says, hey, Doc, I missed your answer on high cholesterol last week. Can you please give me the skinny? Good. Thanks, David. I'll go ahead and star that, and we'll answer that here in just a minute. So thank you all for coming through. Thank you for being here. So, how do I begin? Have you ever been in the situation, or has this ever happened to you, where you wake up and you're thinking about what you're having for breakfast, and you have breakfast and you're thinking about, well, what am I going to have for lunch? Or maybe what is my snack? Or you have a snack and you're thinking about supper, and you go to bed thinking about, okay, what am I going to eat in the morning? Now that's called food noise. It is the constant drum of the food idea and thinking about food as goes on in our mind. And we'll talk more about that here in just a minute. But that is what drives much of what happens in our lives in terms of metabolism. That's what drives a lot of people. I had someone who said to me once, hey, Dr. Woode, if you can help me control my appetite, if you can help me control my eating, then I can lose weight. Then I can improve my blood sugar. Then I can improve my metabolism. And that is the case. Often it is the food noise that drives a lot. And that's what we're going to be talking as we move through the course of this episode tonight, as we talk about what we're going to be doing. As you know how we do, I've got my monitors that we're going to take a look at here in just a minute. That you see right here, that's my Keto Mojo and my Contour. And then, of course, right below me, you will see there, that is my Dexcom Clarity Report that we'll take a look at in my blood sugars. I am right now 50 and a half hours, 51 hours into my fast. Had to do the math. About 51 hours into this week's fast. As you know, we do a 72-hour fast once a week, and that's where I am right now. As I do that, we're going to do a check-in, let you know how I'm feeling, what's going on with me in terms of how I'm feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. But let's go ahead and let's set it up so that you know what we're doing and while we're doing what we're doing. So diabetes is a chronic illness. That's how it's been defined. It's a chronic progressive illness, chronic progressive disease. If you read all the books, that's what they say. Now, there is a lot of thought around that definition, but currently that's what it's listed as. If you look around the world, there are over 500 million people that currently suffer from diabetes, and another 500 million, over 500 million, that suffer from pre-diabetes. And so it's a pretty devastating disease. And in every space that you find people talking about metabolism and chronic disease and diabetes, there is this question that always comes. Is diabetes something that we manage, or is it something that we can cure? Number one. And then whether we're managing or whether we're curing it, whether we're reversing it, right, really is the word. What are the things that we can do that will get us moving in that direction? Because there's a lot of information that's out there, a lot of things that people say in terms of diabetes to manage blood sugar and so forth. And in this space, we have been on a journey to say, what are the proven things that we can do that improve our blood sugars? What are the proven things that help us become more insulin sensitive? What are the proven things that we can do and that we can understand that helps move us down that road to reversing diabetes? So that has been the New Year, New You journey that we've been on. How do we set ourselves up for success? What are the things that we need to learn about our bodies, how food works in our body, how hormones work in our body, how our environment influences us, right? So all of those things come together, and we've been on the path to figure that out and to learn what are the things we have to do to set ourselves up for success. In the process, we've learned lots of tools. One of the most powerful tools that we've learned is the tool of fasting. That's right, fasting. And we've been on a journey learning how to fast. How do we fast successfully? So the question is, how do we get better with our diabetes? In that question comes, what are the tools that we need to learn? And one of the tools that we've learned is the tool of fasting. And then if we're using fasting as a way of improving our metabolism, improving our diabetes, reversing our diabetes, how do we fast successfully? And so where you are right now, what you found us doing is talking about fasting and how we set ourselves up to fast successfully. So once a week in our community, we are doing a fast. There are people who are doing 16-8 fasts. Intermittent fasting, 1 meal a day, 5 and 2 fasting, 24 hours, 48 hours, and of course here on the show, we've been doing 72-hour fasts so that we can walk through the process, so you can see what goes on with my blood sugar, so that you know it's possible, and so that we can keep each other accountable. Right? So all of that is what the purpose is right now that you're seeing. And so when I do my fast, and last week we did a 98-hour fast or something like that, I want you to understand that fasting is a tool. It is something that you use just like the other tools that we have available to us to help us with our blood sugars, to help us with our diabetes and cholesterol and all of those different things. It is a tool. It is not the end-all, be-all. It works in conjunction with other things that we do, and it requires us to learn all of those tools and put them into practice. Having said that, one of the most powerful tools that we have available to us is this idea of fasting, because when we fast, we hit all of the pillars that are involved with diabetes, decreasing our insulin, suppressing our appetite, and of course, reducing our sugar. All three of those are hit by fasting. You've heard people talk, and I think there's a book called Food as Medicine, or I think some formulation of that. Our food has a tremendous impact on our diet, on our body, and how our body processes and how we use that food, how we get energy, and how we are getting ourselves into a space of being healthy. Okay? So food, every bite that we take has an impact. Every bite that we take has an impact. And that's where this idea of balanced bites comes from. Right? So it's one of the other tools that we've learned that hits all of the pillars. Balanced bites. Those are the things that we put in our body, and those are the things that send signals to the body, give us energy, and that whole metabolic milieu that we talk about. Okay? So where we are right now is we are fasting. We are in the process of learning how to fast successfully, and that's where you find us right now in this space talking about fasting, and that's why we're talking about fasting. So I'm over 50 hours fasting. Let's go ahead and let's do a check-in. Anytime you're doing anything, you want to make sure that you are doing a good job of evaluating, is this giving me what I expect? And as I do that, the check-in that I do is we talk about our physical, mental, and emotionally, how we're doing physically, mentally, and emotionally. Physically, often people will talk about, kind of feeling sluggish, lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, having palpitations. I am not feeling any of those. I have been doing a good job of hydrating. Got my mug. See that? New year, new you. I have been doing a good job of resting, so the last several nights. And I came back from a trip on this past weekend and did not do a good job of resting that first night. But since then, I've done a good job, and so feeling energetic, not feeling like I'm hitting a wall, not feeling like I'm walking through mud, as some people will say. They feel like they're going through and they're just drained. I don't feel that. And as you transition from burning carbohydrates to burning fat, if you're not rested, then you feel that more profoundly than you normally would. Okay, so not feeling any of that. Rested, hydrated, and so physically I'm feeling good. Mentally, I'm feeling clear. I'm not feeling foggy-headed. I'm not feeling dull. I'm not feeling like I'm in a bubble. Once again, that goes along with the resting. Because if you're not rested, then of course you can have those things in terms of mentation, feeling like you're not able to really process and think, and you're not as sharp. In fact, when people are not rested, right, that they've shown that our reaction time goes down, our ability to solve problems go down, our ability to think and to process goes down. So right now, I'm feeling pretty clear. So mentally, feeling good. And then emotionally, this started out as a tough week for me. Like I said, we had some conversations earlier in the week with family members and some friends, and some things going on in their lives. And so that, for me, for the beginning of the week was pretty tough. And I started my fast on Sunday, and into Monday, and broke that fast, right? Because I was buffering, right? The whole idea of buffering versus coping. So I was buffering, and the food looks so good, and it says, "Come here. I can help you with that thought. I can help you with that emotion. I can help you with that feeling." And for the moment, it did, right? That's the whole idea behind buffering. And but coming out of those first couple of days, feeling much better now. As a matter of fact, one of my team members said to me, she said, "You're not yourself today." And so just coming out of that, and then falling back on the things that we're learning, right? The COPE model: clarify, observe, pause, and execute. How do we set ourselves up for success? And it is a work in progress. It's a work in progress, this idea of fasting. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a minute. All right. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars. Before I do that, let me hop back over, and I think we have a couple of other people that have come in, and just saying hello to them. Let's see. Steve, we got your question there that will come. David, sorry. Gian says, hey all, hi Doc. Steve says, good morning, Gian. Hello, Steve Keller. And David is saying hello. GTSY. Okay, it's David. You're going to have to spell that out for us. Steve saying hello, David. Thank you, Steve. It is around lunchtime here, 12:45. And thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us, Gian. We appreciate that. You're always hanging out here. And then, wow, amazing New Year cup. Yeah, that's my New Year cup. New Year, new you. All right. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at my blood sugar. This is my monitor that you'll see there. This, of course, is my Freestyle Libre. 82 is what my blood sugar is. You see the squiggly white line that's near the bottom there, middle of the bottom. That's my blood sugar. And you'll see that for most of today, I've hung out right at about 100 or less. In the first part of the day, we were above 100. Let's take a look at my Clarity or Dexcom G7. And this one, I can put my finger there and you'll see my blood sugars as I scroll back through. And so where we are right now, 80, 70s, going into earlier in the day, 100s, 90s. And this is a 24-hour view. If we look at this 12-hour view, it looks pretty much like you would expect, since we've seen the Freestyle Libre. Okay? All right, so now let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at my monitors. And I have two monitors here. This is a Contour, and this is a Keto Mojo. So let's go ahead and these strips, each of these, this one that I have in my hand, this is the brown one, and this is a glucose strip. And then this one is the ketone strip. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open this up and get that in the monitor. I'm also going to open the ketone strip because if I don't, then sometimes the drop of blood doesn't stay, or it coagulates and then it dries up. So I have to stick myself again, which I don't want to do. And then let's go ahead and get one of these guys out. All right. And if I hop over to my handy dandy container and grab one of these Lancets. And this is the one that I've become partial to. Let me grab another one. So these are, well, I have 3 in here, I think. Actually, I have 4. There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and so I've got 4 of them. This one is a Unistick, and of course you screw that top part off. This one goes into a Lancing device, and there are multiple Lancets that are in here, and there's 1, 2, 3. There are 3 Lancets in this one, and what happens is the Lancing device pushes it out. It comes through here. You get the finger stick, and then it goes back in, and then it turns. Another one comes out. It goes back in. Then it turns. Another one comes out. Right. So you can use this 3 times theoretically. These are single stick ones, or single use ones. They're supposed to be. This one, you turn off the top. The spring. When you press the spring, it sticks the finger, and then you throw that away. And these, this one doesn't go into a Lancing device. You simply pull this part off, and the needle is right there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put this one back. This one is similar in that you screw this top off, and you have your needle, but this one does go into a Lancing device. And same idea, there's a spring load down here, and when we press the spring, it pushes it out, and that gives you a finger stick. Okay, I tend not to use the lancing devices because I find them cumbersome, because I've got to open it up, I've got to put this thing in, I've got to take the top off, I've got to put the top of the lancing device back in, and then I use that to prick my finger. And for me, it's simpler to just grab this, twist the top off, find a finger, right, and ow, 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 and let's hope that I got a good stick there. Okay, yeah, there you go, and there's my drop of blood. All right. And while I do this, David, if you would, go ahead and remind me of the full question that you had about cholesterol. What happened here? So this one is going, but this one is not going. So I think I need a new strip there. All right. And let's do that quickly because I don't want my drop of blood to. All right, so there that is. So get that going, and then I've got a drop of blood going. That one's going, and then we're gonna make sure that we keep keep a drop flowing. So 85 for the contour. Sorry, 85 for the Keto Mojo. We've got 79 for the contour, and then of course right there is the this is the Dexcom, and then of course here is the Libre. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab this out, and of course I've been talking when I should have been making sure that this drop is not drying up. Let's go ahead, let's see. All right, so we got it just in time. All right, and of course we're not going to show you what that is quite yet. All right, here we are. Let's see. And so before we get into our discussion, let's get back over here. So, oh, David says, good to see you. Okay, GTSY, love it. And Jiyon says, oh, thank you, David. I was wondering about that. Steve says, after I saw you using the spring-loaded lancets, I ordered them. You really like them. Are you talking about these ones, Steve? Yeah, these are the ones that we use in our office. They're called Unisticks. Yeah, so we really like those. Okay, and then let's hop over and let's go here. So David says, okay, so David, let's go ahead and answer his questions. David says, been running high on cholesterol for years and realize it's hereditary. Does this process help with regulating levels? And a good question, by the way, David. And the answer is yes. So it does help regulate cholesterol levels. If there is a hereditary component to it, right? It may not get your cholesterol all the way down, but it does improve it. Okay? So it depends on where you and your physician want your cholesterol levels to be, and not knowing a lot about your history. So you guys would have chosen, okay, we want our cholesterol levels to be X. For diabetics, we say we want the total cholesterol to be below 200, the bad cholesterol, the LDL, to be below 100. In fact, because diabetes is a coronary equivalent, meaning that having diabetes is the same as having had a coronary event, that is a heart attack. Often we'll say, hey, we want that cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, to be 70 or lower. Okay, so you and your doc would have picked, hey, this is what we want. Wherever you are, fasting improves the cholesterol. Does it get it all the way down to where you need it to be based on what your doctor says? That is the question. And so there are people who have had tremendous improvement in the cholesterol, but they still may need some medication to get them that extra inch, if you will, depending on where they want that blood sugar to be. But fasting is an amazing way to reduce cholesterol. Yes. We talk about cholesterol when it comes to the foods that we eat, the fatty foods, but we forget that a big component of cholesterol also has to do with sugar. Right? So lowering the carbs, lowering the sugar in your body helps with cholesterol. Often I'll see someone who has cholesterol levels that are really high and their A1C is high. When they improve the A1C, cholesterol improves as well. Okay? Awesome. So hope that answers your question. And David says he has me on statins right now, which is the standard treatment for hyperlipidemia. But let's see. So Steve says no. Okay, so not the Unistick, not the one I was saying, but the Relion is what Steve is saying. Okay, awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk. Now, I'll tell you, when I have folks come to the office, one of the questions that we talk about, and if you've been to my office, if you've had a conversation with me about metabolism, you know that there are a series of questions that I ask. And one of the questions that I ask is, what is causing you to eat? In fact, for the people that are on things like Ozempic, Mounjaro, people who are doing Wegovy, Zepbound, semaglutide, right, the GLP ones, I will say to folks, my main question to them is, what is the medication doing for you? And they'll say, oh, it's helping me lose weight. Well, here's the thing, right? And it may be semantic, but I want you to listen to me. Those medications don't help you lose weight. They don't cause weight loss. You are making the weight go away. What the medication does is the medication helps to suppress the food noise. It helps to suppress the appetite. It helps us to not be on edge all the time about food. And because it does that, that now gives you the ability, the power to make decisions where you could not make that decision before. So I want you to listen to the process, right? So often we think that it is that the medication is going into our body and it's just grabbing a piece of fat and it's throwing it out of our body. That's not what it does. Right? So what it does is it slows the food as it moves through your stomach so you feel fuller longer. Remember, when your stomach is stretched and it feels full, that signal, that ghrelin that was going to the brain to tell you eat, that ghrelin goes down. The leptin that was telling you, hey, I'm not full, now the leptin goes up, and so now we feel full. Right? So it slows the food. It decreases the sugar that comes from your liver. That's how one of the ways it improves blood sugar. If your body can make insulin, it allows your pancreas, or tells your pancreas to make more insulin. And it helps your muscles to use insulin or use sugar more effectively. Those are the four big things that it does. Now, it affects the hormones in the brain. Those hormones are those hormones that we've talked about. Remember, we talked about the science of hunger? Those hormones are the ones that we talked about that signal either that I'm full or that I'm hungry, right? Ghrelin and leptin. That's the yin and yang. And so what the semaglutide and all of those medications do is they help your body, or help you to minimize the food noise so that you can make choices where you could not make those choices before. And because it helps you feel fuller longer, then fuller longer, so then you don't have that constant urge to eat. Okay? Now, you guys have heard my story, right? Endocrinologist, training to be a physician, finished training to be a physician, now training to be a specialist on metabolism and diabetes and all the endocrine things, 285 pounds. And I will tell you that there was a constant drone in my head about food. And you heard me at the top of the show as we started talking about where that food noise was. And the reason this is an important thing is as I've been going through the fast this week, I told you how the week started. I told you about the emotional things that were going on this week, and the food noise was there. If you saw the and let me pull this up again, right? So the food noise was there. Now I picked up as I was coming. I was like, okay, what can I use to show them or symbolize the food noise? And so I just grabbed off of the counter. All right, so I just grabbed this thing, right? All the fruits, they're there, because those are the healthy things that I was walking by. But there are some other things that aren't so healthy, right? That I have not, that I didn't grab here, but that the food noise is saying, okay, get that, get that, get that, get that. As a matter of fact, I went to Walmart because my son needed. That all that just fell over. I was looking for something for my son for school, and so I went to Walmart and I went to the section with the with what he needed, getting him a sweater. And as I was coming out, right, there's that. Hey, let's go over there. Let's see what's over there. So I'm walking through now. Now notice, remember, I'm fasting. Right? So 50 plus hours. So I'm fasting at the time. It wasn't 50 hours, but I'm fasting and I'm going down up and down the aisle. What am I looking for? I don't have a list of stuff that I'm getting. I'm like, okay, because I forgot my smoker. So I'm going to be doing some smoking. So I'm going to get some of that. I'm going to get some of that. And then here's the aisle. And of course, now they have all the bags of candy, right? The little bite-sized candies that are there. And it is a difficult thing for a lot of people because the noise is just constant drum of, okay, what am I having for lunch? What am I having for dinner? What am I going to have as a snack? In fact, what used to happen to me is as I was coming home because we don't see patients on Fridays in the office. That's when I do my coaching and other things. As I was coming home, as I used to come home, I would be heading home and wasn't sure when I was going back out. So I'm coming home Thursday night. Hey, I probably am going to stay home all on Friday until I've got to go pick my son up from school. And so in my head, what am I going to do for a snack? Because it couldn't just be that I'm going to eat dinner and then I'm going to eat breakfast and I'm going to eat lunch. But okay, what am I going to have in between? Because there was that constant noise. Okay? So the first question is, what is food noise? What is food noise? And so food noise is that inner dialogue. Is that inner dialogue, or it's the external pressure that surrounds food. The cues that we talk about, right? Those social cues. All of that ties into the food noise. So it's that inner dialogue that that says to you, hey, what are you going to have? Hey, what are we going to have for supper? Hey, I remember what that tastes like. Hey, right now we're not going to eat, but yeah, we're going to plan because we're going to go to the grocery store and this is what we're putting together. It's the craving. Right? It's the societal influences that you get into, that you see, that you feel. It's the habits that we've formed. It's those routines that we've gotten into over the years. And the voice that says, I need a snack when you're not hungry. Or I deserve dessert because you've had a long day. Yeah? Has you right? So okay, this is a good place to do it. Let's say it, right? So I've said before, and we will do that. We'll come back and we'll do a show where we talk about snacking. But let's have some conversation about snacking. In the course of our day, we need energy for our body to function. if you do a good job of eating breakfast, lunch, and supper, assuming that you're eating breakfast, lunch, and supper, some people are only eat one meal a day or 2 meals a day, whatever it is. So whatever you have done in terms of your energy requirements for the day, and you've eaten that, there's no other reason to eat anything else. So snacking, really, there's no reason for snacking. There's no purpose for snacking other than snacking helps us get through boredom. Snacking keeps our mouth moving, and so those muscles are moving, and so it distracts us. Snacking, same idea, will help you stay awake. Snacking helps us feel better. Snacking calms us. Right? So notice the things that snacking is doing. And so the food noise really ties into, and we're going to see that in just a minute, ties into not energy, not nutrients, not hunger, but snacking really ties into the stuff surrounding the things that are going on in our lives, the emotions, the access that we have, the habits that we form. Okay, so food noise often stems from some psychological or physiologic trigger. So things like stress, boredom, emotions, even hormonal fluctuations, right? So for our women that are out there, when you're going through a cycle, when you're pregnant, hormones are changing. That's why there are cravings. That's why there's hunger, right? Because hormones are changing, it's fluctuating. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to control us. Right? So recognizing it is the first step in quieting the food noise. Right? Quieting the food noise. So that's what food noise is. So how does fasting highlight food noise? When you're fasting, you can't just reach for food to deal with those cravings or the emotions. Oh, wow. This is me today. Actually, this is me this week. So the food noise has been there. If you remember, earlier in the week, I started fasting and the food noise was there. The food noise was there, and I ended up breaking the fast and started the fast again. So now I'm 50 hours in, and the food noise is there. And so the question that I have to ask is, well, I'm not going to tell you that quite yet, what the question is. Okay, so how does fasting highlight it? One of the fascinating things about fasting is how it shines a light on food noise. When you're fasting, you can't just grab stuff, right? Because you're fasting, you're not eating. You can't just take the food to deal with the thing that's happening, the cravings, the emotion. And that's when you begin to notice even more the food noise. So fasting will help with food noise, but it also highlights that there is food noise. The thoughts, the feelings that drive us to eat, even when we're not hungry, even when we don't need to. So that feeling that you get, well, I just finished eating, but it's almost like there's something pushing you. Hey, go get something to eat, go get something to eat. One of the things I struggle with is the scarcity mindset when it comes to food. And I don't mean scarcity as in there's not food around, but in my mind, because I am so used to, right, and it's still a battle, I am so used to the food noise. I'm so used to having stuff around that when I am getting to the end of a fast or I'm about to start a fast, my brain begins to play tricks on me. Right? So at the office, hey, let's go and let's grab some stuff. Like today, right? So I'm not going to work. I'm not going to the office tomorrow. And so today, I was going down and I was going to get salad, right? Because you guys know, like last week I broke my fast with a salad. So I got a salad. And usually on Thursdays, I'll get a salad that I'm going to use to break the fast on Friday. That's usually the plan. Well, I go down and there's a salad, so I get the salad, but then they have I was going to say the best fried chicken, but it's not the best fried chicken. It's just good fried chicken. So they've got fried chicken, or they've got a pot roast, or they've got, what else do they normally have down there? They've got some chicken wings, or they've got whatever they have. My brain says, oh, get some of that. Take it with you. You can have it tomorrow. It's going to be gone. You won't be able to get any more until next week. So why not get some right now? Now, the thing about that is if I get it right now, then it also becomes a part of the food noise, because now it's in my refrigerator and my brain knows it's there. Right? So fasting, the process of fasting, highlights food noise. And it forces us to deal with the food noise. For me, fasting has been an incredible tool to identify when I'm truly hungry versus when I'm responding to food noise. It helps me to separate the physical hunger from the psychological hunger. And let me tell you, that's a game changer, right? Being able to make that distinction. Because often I talk to people, and you may find this, that before you started really thinking about it, you assumed that every time you felt your stomach growl, you were hungry. Or you felt like every time you felt that pang, that you had to eat something. But having this understanding now of what is different between physical hunger, or psychological hunger, you're able now to navigate that better. Now, is it perfect? No. That's why we say we got to practice. We've got to train. You cannot be successful with this if you're not training. And training is a constant. Every day I'm going through this process. I'm thinking about it. I'm evaluating it. Today I may not make it all the way, but tomorrow I'm trying again. And eventually it gets better and better and better and better and better. Okay? So food noise. So that's how fasting highlights food noise. So what is the deeper connection? So food noise isn't just about food. Yeah? Food noise isn't just about food. It's often tied to some deeper emotional or psychological pattern. During fasting, what happens is we are given the space to confront the patterns and to work through them. That's what, notice that space. That is what the GLP-1s do. The GLP-1 receptor agonists, things like semaglutide, things like, all those, and I won't go through all of them. But what they do is they give space. They give you pause. And remember, one of the key components of our COPE model is this idea of pausing. Being able to take a moment so that the amygdala doesn't run away and make us go eat. So that the prefrontal cortex comes and says, okay, we know that conversation was painful, using my example. We know that puts you in a almost depressed space. We know that was difficult to hear. We know that you are worried about how you're going to be able to help. But you don't have to eat to solve the problem. In fact, eating will not solve the problem. So right now, let's give some space. Allow yourself to feel what that is. We can make it through this without eating. Notice what happens. It's not always easy. I'm going to say that. It's not always easy. But it's worth it. It's worth the struggle. It's worth the practice. It's worth the time. Yes? So, for example, many of us use food as comfort, right? Hands up. We use it as a reward. And fasting challenges us to find a different way to confront those issues, to comfort ourselves, and to celebrate our successes. It teaches resilience. It teaches us how to develop healthier relationships with food. Now, that doesn't say that you can't say, I really enjoy this thing that I'm drinking, right? Or I really enjoy ice cream, or I really enjoy cakes. That's not what that says. But it says that I get to make the choice. Often, the choice is made for us by our bodies, by our thoughts, by our emotions, by those situations that we're in. It's almost like we don't have the ability to choose anything else, because the food noise is so constant. The food noise is there. So, what are some strategies to quiet the food noise? So, here are some techniques on what we can do. Okay, so number one, you got to understand the reason. You guys knew that one was going to be number one, right? This is the whole idea of understanding your triggers. What are the things that push you in that direction? Because those are the things that bring the food noise. Because remember, the food noise is a constant droning for the things that calm us, that put us in a space, that reminds us of something, right? So that's what the food noise is. It is the taste that we've gotten accustomed to, that we've gotten used to. It is the relationship that is difficult, that we don't want to feel, that we don't want to sit in. It is the memory that we are trying to avoid. It is the task that we are trying to procrastinate. Well, procrastination is a way, it is a buffering behavior. But all of that. So understand the reason why the food noise is there. Number two, mindful awareness. Remember, emotional intelligence says that I am going to be present here. I'm going to understand what I feel, how I'm feeling, how other people are feeling, and use that for my benefit. So being mindful, being present, being constantly striving to be in the moment, not thinking about the past and being depressed, not thinking about the future and being anxious, and not even worrying about the present, but being here and understanding that I'm okay, that I can be in the space and I don't have to buffer with food. Hydration, right? Sometimes we confuse hunger with or we confuse thirst with hunger. So making sure that you are hydrated, and we'll talk more about that as we do our check-in tomorrow. Distracting techniques, right? Do things that take your mind off the food noise. Get a hobby, get some friends, hang out with some friends, develop some connections. Reframe your thoughts. Now, this is a big one for me. Right? And it is still a work in progress. It is that food can be enjoyable, but food is not the ultimate thing. I am living a life that involves food as opposed to food being my life. Now, I'll tell you, at one time, things revolved around food. I would go to certain hotels because they gave breakfast. There were some hotels we didn't go. They don't get breakfast. We're not good. We're not staying there. When we went on our trips, I can't tell you the number of times that I've had an attitude on a trip because we couldn't go to a particular place. We couldn't go to a restaurant, or we had to just grab something when I had my mind set on a particular meal. Food noise. So reframe the thoughts. And then focus on the why. Focus on the why of being healthy. Why do I want to be healthy? What are my ultimate goals? And I tell folks, and I've said that so many times today and this week, that my goal is not blood sugar management. Oh, wait a minute. What are you talking about, Dr. Woode? I thought you're the diabetes doctor. I thought we're reversing diabetes. Yes, we are. But my goal is not blood sugar management. I'm not a blood sugar manager. My goal is to keep you alive as long as possible and to help you stay as healthy as possible. Now, that's the long-term goal. Managing sugar is a part of the goal. It is a part of the process. I should say the goal is a part of the process. That's how we get there. But it is not the goal. Because what happens if we make that the goal, then our entire lives focuses around blood sugar. I gave the example to someone today that managing blood sugar should be like going to the gas station and putting gas in your car. It is a part of your day, but it is not your entire day. Come on. I want you to understand where this fits. And often we've made it so cumbersome that it is your entire day. It is not your entire day, y'all. It is a very small part of your day. And our goal is to give you the tools, help us learn the tools, develop the tools, train, practice, have the support so that it becomes just this thing that we do as part of the life that we're enjoying. Remember when we say, hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode, that's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, I encourage you to take charge of your life. Avoid complications and go to the next level. And the piece that we don't say all the time is to enjoy the life you've always wanted. That's it. That's the goal. The blood sugar is a mechanism to get us there. And managing this disease is a mechanism to get us there. Because we want to stay alive as long as possible and be as healthy as possible. So the food noise, which is there, we want to make sure that we're getting rid of the food noise. We're dealing with the food noise. I shouldn't say get rid of, because it doesn't go away, by the way. So even when you're taking the GLP-1 receptor agonist, the food noise is there. It's right there on the surface. Here's the thing. There are people who are on GLP-1 receptor agonists who are not getting the benefit. And for a lot of people, they're trying to figure out why some people don't get benefit from it. But for some people, they don't get benefit, not because it's not working, but because the underlying issue is so much stronger than the suppression that the medication is giving. If you're mad enough, depressed enough, if you are lonely enough, if you are tired enough, it doesn't matter how much medication I give you, you are going to buffer. You're going to find a way to buffer. And if your buffering is eating, you're going to eat. That's why the New Year, New You process is not just about, hey, here's a medication. It's also about what are we learning in the process of going through our lives, and how do we deal with some of those things. And as we begin dealing with them, then we're able to handle the food noise. Awesome. All right. Okay, so let's see. Let's hop over and let's say hello. I see some folks who have popped in. Let's go back up. Jennifer. Jennifer says hi. Hey, Jennifer. Howdy, all. Hey, Gian. Snacking calms us indeed. Yes. Juan said, I am live with full of constant food noise. Yeah, I live with constant food noise. Beth says 1.3, mine is 1.3. Oh, so you guys are already putting in what you think my ketones are going to be. Steve, can you help me to fast? Juan said, I need someone to fast together. Steve said, Beth and I do. And so, Gian, hold on to that. Hold on to that thought. We're going to talk about something here in just a little bit. Well, I wasn't going to, but since you're there, we're gonna pop that in. Beth and I do the same fast each day. You need to start slow and work into what you want. Let me put that up. I don't think I've. Yeah, there we go. I'm at my goal weight. Beth wants to drop another 10 kilograms. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Gian said, Jennifer said, how about fasting together with me and Steve? Pamela says, hello. Gian said, 100% food comforts me always. Hello, Pamela. Hi, Pam. Is anyone fasting? Please, I can do fast alone. So Pamela says, hi, Steve and Gian. Gian, I had steak with vegetables, sauteed in butter, macadamia nuts, and creme brulee to break my fast today. So Steve, I love you're yeah. Let me put this over here. Let's see. Okay, here we are. Gian says, wow, what a savory food you had. And Gian says, please, and I'm here. So Gian says, I'm here, doctor. Okay, so one of the things that we talk about is the community, and the community is so important in getting us spaces where we need to be. Okay, so what I've done, and I think we've talked about this in the past. We have our community meetup, which meets on the fourth Thursday of every month, and we've changed that around because of holiday and so forth. But basically, we meet once a month. And so, what I've done is I've created an environment. We're going to use Kajabi, and like I said, I wasn't going to talk about that tonight, but let's go ahead and do it. We're going to use Kajabi, and Kajabi allows you to come into the space even when we are not live, that you can chat with each other, that we can do discussions, we can do our meetup in Kajabi, and I'll be sending that link out to you guys soon so that you could sign up for that. The Kajabi allows us to drop PDFs and lists, and we can post videos, and we can post. It's just a kind of a meeting space for us. So, like I said, I'll be sending that link out to you guys here soon, so that you can go ahead and sign up for that. I think it's going to be a great addition to the show, great addition to the community, allows the community to do much more supporting of each other. For example, Gian is asking for someone to help fast. We can do fasting teams. We can do fasting conversations. You guys can get in there and see each other, and so that's going to be an amazing space for us to be in, and so we're gonna get that. Like I said, I wasn't planning to do that right now, but since Gian said that, and I think Jennifer had said something a couple of weeks ago about Discord. This is Jennifer. This is Jennifer. I'm talking about you, and you just have that up on the screen. Yeah. So Jennifer says it's kind of like Discord. It's kind of like Discord. I have been on Discord servers before. I've been in some of them. It's something that I've got to learn more about, but we've decided to do that on Kajabi here, and so that's what we're going to be rolling out, so that you can get over there and sign up for that. Okay, and this allows us to build the community a lot more in terms of the support that we can give to each other in the space. For now, I see David is saying, "Hey, Gian, I'll fast." So Discord, Gian is asking. Discord is a I don't want to call it a social platform, but it's a platform that allows for community, right? It's a community engagement platform. I think that's a good definition. And I see David out there. Who David is an ardent content creator and person out there. So David, is that a good definition of Discord? A community tool. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's take a look. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars, and of course now I've got to log back in. All right, and let's go ahead and hop over there and let's take a look at what my blood sugars have been doing. And you'll see on the screen coming up here in just a minute. There we are. So this is my Dexcom Clarity Report. And you'll see that my average blood sugar is 141. And let me see if I can make sure my mouse is working. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so 141 is my average blood sugar. This is over the last 14 days. I'm in target 77% of the time, range being 70 to 180, and my glucose management indicator is 6.7. So if I were to get an A1C, it would approximate a 6.7. So remember, it is not, I think it's changed over there. Remember, it is not an absolute number. It is a calculated number based on the sugars that are coming into the device. So there is a margin of error there. So, but it should approximate what your A1C actually is going to be, right? But we can't call it an A1C. If I look at 90 days, you'll see that my average blood sugar for 90 days is 133. I'm in target 87% of the time, target range being 70 to 180. And my glucose management indicator is a 6.5. So that is what, if I got an A1C, that's what I would approximate. So I am getting, let's see, I'm seeing my physician. So I saw them, and you guys saw my labs that we shared. If you didn't see that, that's a great show to go back and watch. And I think we did that back in end of October, beginning of November. So my physician looked at my labs, and I'm getting labs again for my visit in February. And so we will be looking at those again so that we can see what those are. And I want you to be paying attention as we're going through the fast and as we're doing the shows and keeping track of the A1Cs. You should also be looking at your A1Cs and your lab results. If you're not diabetic, you probably don't have an A1C as frequently, but you're looking at things like cholesterol, high blood pressure. They're looking at kidneys and other markers. And we did a show that talked about labs that you should get looked at. And so it's a good way to keep track of where you are metabolically by looking at some of those labs. So A1C is one of those. And so if I hop over now and take a look at what my blood sugars have been running, going back to, let's see, we started, started fasting right in here. Okay, we were 150, and you'll see there blood sugars that went up after. So we stopped eating, started fasting. This is the postprandial period coming into the next morning. And so coming into yesterday at 24 hours, right about there, 101. And then now coming into 48 hours, we were 84, and then extending beyond 48 hours now to where we are right now. And it'll be interesting to see what this blood sugar is as we move into our fast tomorrow. Okay. Now tomorrow we'll probably end up doing our show earlier than at the 72-hour mark. So it won't be quite a 72-hour mark when we do the show, but we'll come on and we'll talk about where I am, what time frame I'm at right then, and what my ketones are. And speaking about ketones, let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at what my ketones are. Let's go ahead and grab my Keto Mojo. Let's get this one off the screen. So I'll need to turn this on and go ahead and get syncing. And let me go back and let's see. I'm trying to remember what Steve says 1.3, I think, or Beth said 1.3. I think is what they said. Okay, so you ready? Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, please. And I had a drum roll that I brought, but I didn't like it, so we don't have a drum roll right now. But 1.3, I think, is the guess. Anybody else want to drop something in there? 1.3, 1.3. Okay, here we are. So blood sugar 85 and ketones 1.4. Look at that, Beth. You were so close, right? And you guys have been getting closer and closer for guessing what the A1Cs are. All right. So when we talk about ketones, remember ketones of less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis. And above 1.5 is considered therapeutic ketosis. And so right now I am in the nutritional ketosis space right now. When we talk about metabolism, ketogenesis, ketogenic diet, improving our weight loss, we want ketones to be 0.5 or higher, right? If we're checking those, that's where we want them to be, 0.5 or higher. We're talking to type 2 diabetics. For people who are type 1 diabetic, you're going to have to monitor your ketones because we want it at least 0.5, but you can get ketones that are so high that now puts you into the diabetic ketoacidosis range. And so if you're type 1, you got to be very careful. And that's why you hear me say all the time when we start the show, I'm talking to type 2 diabetics, adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes, okay? Because there are some extra considerations that type 1 patients will have to take into consideration. All right, and then so let's take a look at graphs, right? So when we look at the graphs, the tan line, those are my blood sugars, and then the turquoise line, those are ketones. And as my blood sugars have dropped, and let's see where we are. So 95, you see that my ketones have, that's not the right one, is it? Let's see. And it was 1.4, right? I thought that's what I saw. Okay. All right, there we are. Whew, I was starting to get a little worried there. So no, that's still not. Okay, there we are. Okay. So as my blood sugar, as I started eating, and if you look at the chart on the left side of the chart, you'll see that the tan line, right? The tan line, those are blood sugars, so 75. And as I started eating, the blood sugars went up to 103, got up to 110 as we were checking here. And then as I started fasting, the blood sugars started coming down. So 110, and then 95, and then 85, which is what it was just a little while ago. And the opposite is happening now with the ketones. So as I started eating and the blood sugars are going up, the turquoise line, which is the ketones, the turquoise line is going down. So we started there at 3.8 as I was fasting last week, and then it dropped down to 1.0, dropped down to 0.2, down to 0.2, and then up now at 1.4. Remember, ketones and insulin can't be in the same space. So as my blood sugar goes up because I'm eating, then the insulin has to go up as well. As the insulin goes up, then the insulin drives away ketones. And then the opposite happens as I start fasting, blood sugars will go down, Insulin goes down. When insulin goes down, then ketones can come up. Okay. Remember, insulin and glucagon are opposite hormones. When I'm eating, the insulin is high because the sugars are higher because I have carbs in my food. As that goes down, as the sugar goes down, then the insulin goes down, and then the glucagon starts coming up because glucagon now is saying to my body, hey, that food that you stored in the liver and other places, I need you to go now and get that and break it down so I can have energy. Okay? Awesome. All right. Let's see what we have. So we've got, so Gion is asking who Beth is. Jennifer, yes. So Discord is another media to talk to each other. Please, I really look forward to that community. Junior Young said, great, Jennifer. I'm sorry, I can't do fast alone. Kajabi is a course platform similar to Discourse or a forum, and you could set levels, right? David said, you have described it, Doc, correctly. Okay, thanks, David. Gian, Steve, who is Beth? And Steve says, Beth is my wife. Is your wife here? Please say hello. Steve says she's always watching, always hanging out with us. And Gian says, great wife. Blah, blah, blah. David says, hello, Bless. So glad to see you here. Helping Steve. Always. All right. Well, so I want to talk a little bit about food noise. One of the challenges that we all face is that it's so easy to buffer. Right? It's so easy to do the thing that relieves the situation for the moment. It's so easy to eat the candy bar or eat the chocolate, or if I'm fasting, to break the fast. And it may not be the sweets. It may be, okay, I'm just not fasting right now because of the food noise. That's the simple answer. And often, what I want to convince you of, and what I tell people, is buffering has a place. Buffering gets us through that moment. Many of us would go out of our minds if we weren't buffering. Okay? So sometimes we demonize the idea of buffering. We demonize the food, we demonize whatever it is. And I don't want to demonize it. I want you to understand the place that it plays in what you do on a daily basis. Right now, some of us are buffering. Right at this moment, some of us are buffering. Because it's easier and it helps us to get through. But what we want to do is we want to move from buffering to coping. There's nothing that says that buffering at that moment doesn't do what you need it to do. It does. It makes you feel better. It calms you. It gives you a moment. But it doesn't solve the problem. And so our goal is to move from buffering to coping. And as we begin coping, then we can handle better the food noise that's there. Because the food noise drives the buffering behavior. Because it's constantly there. It's a drone that we are fighting, that we're fighting. And I'm going to tell you, one of the things that we learned in recovery is that fight is what ultimately wears us down, because we've not found and learned the tools and the mechanisms to handle, to cope with the issue. And so there's constantly this battle that's going on because we've not yet learned all those things that we need to learn. And so our goal is to begin learning the tools and to use those tools to help us begin quieting some of the food noise. Okay? That's what we want to do. And if we can do that, that sets us down the road in the direction of doing what we need to do to be metabolically healthy. Awesome. Remember that at your fingertips, you have unlimited potential. You have the ability right now to make choices. You have the ability to go in a different direction. That's what the COPE model says. It says that we can clarify what is it that really is causing the issue for me. It's not that I'm hungry. It's the fact that someone hurt my feelings, or I didn't do well on that test, or myriads of other things. So we want to clarify, what is it? We want to observe, where is that in my body? What is that emotion that I'm feeling? Because I know now that it's not hunger. So what is the feeling that I'm having? I name it. And then I pause, because that allows my brain, the prefrontal cortex, to override the amygdala, which is the part of our body, the brain that's responsible for survival and for safety. The prefrontal cortex says, hey, we can do something differently. And then we execute something else. We choose another way of dealing with that issue. We have the ability to do that. We have unlimited potential to do that. We can begin doing that right now. It takes practice, practice, practice. We've got to practice. It's training. It's all about training. David, who's on the line right now, who's on the show right now, is an amazing musician. Right? If you have not been to his channel yet, go ahead and make sure you get over there and listen to him. But all of that muscle memory that he has, that came from that goes on when he is playing, that takes practice. If you play basketball, it takes practice. If you play baseball, it takes practice. If you knit, if you crochet, it takes practice. If you want to play golf, it takes practice. And just like it takes practice for all those other things, it takes practice to be metabolically healthy. Often we get into this space and we say, okay, it's not working. Well, we've not practiced. You've not done over and over and over. And people say, well, how long is it going to take? It takes as long as it takes. It takes as long as it takes. They asked Jerry Seinfeld, how did he become a comedian? Someone asked him, how did you become a good comedian? He said, well, I wrote jokes. And I just kept writing jokes. I kept writing jokes and writing them. And I changed them. And did this one doesn't work, or this timing doesn't work, or this doesn't go there. And you kept writing it until Jerry Seinfeld. Steve Harvey says, people say that, hey, you just showed up and you blew up and you became this big star. But they don't know about the little places that I played in. Right? Those little bars and those little events or those venues when we're on the road. And nobody sees that. But it takes practice. It takes consistency. But you have the ability to do that. Remember, the HEAT model says these are the triggers, habits, emotions, access, and taste, the routines that we formed, the emotions that come out of us, the access that we have, the things that are in our environment, and the taste, the bliss point, perfect combination of sugar, salt, and fat that says when you eat it, you can't just have one. These are the things that push us. These are the buttons that get pushed. Remember, we are fasting because it hits all three of the pillars for reversing diabetes: decreasing insulin, suppressing the appetite, and reducing sugar. The other thing that we've learned so far that does that is the balanced bites. These bites, every bite counts. When we put things in our body, it sends a signal to our body. And being mindful of those things also helps with reversing our diabetes. Remember, we're prioritizing whole foods, minimizing processed foods, no added sugar, lean protein, healthy fats, starchy and non-starchy vegetables. It must be tasty and flavorful, and appropriate portion size. All of this is built on the Triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the show, we educate with the podcast, we educate with the blogs. We empower with the tools that we learn: fasting, balanced bites, emotional intelligence, mindful eating. All of those are tools. And then we encourage with the community that you guys are a part of, that we are building, and keep an eye out for that community link that will come out to you so you can sign up for that. Okay? And when you show up, join the challenges. Don't just let them be on the video. We want you to make sure that you are learning. This is your opportunity to put them into practice. Things on the video and things on a piece of paper, it's just theory. It takes life. You infuse life to it when you take action. When you come, also tell your story. Let us know where you are. Let us know the successes that you're having. If you're having challenges, we get to come around. We get to support you, so we all know that we're not by ourselves. And then invite someone else. Let them know there's a space where they can be metabolically healthy, where they can reverse their diabetes, improve their blood sugar. Let them know that we're losing weight, that we're improving cholesterol and blood pressure and polycystic ovarian syndrome and metabolic syndrome. But don't just send them, bring them. Don't just say, hey, go listen to this. Say, hey, come on, let's go listen together. Let's do it together. Let's walk through some of these videos. Get a watch party. Play the videos. And say, okay, how do we do this? You can be a voice for change in your community, in your home, in your family. Say to the folks in your family, hey, we're not going out like this. We keep having heart attacks. We keep having strokes. We keep losing limbs. We keep going blind. We keep having complications from metabolic disease and chronic illnesses. We don't have to go out like this. And you can be a voice for change. You can be an ambassador to help them begin learning and moving down the path of new year, new you. And as we look forward to the new year, remember, we are building on where we are right now, and we are living limitless lives. And remember, your life is being built on the new you. The limitless life that you're building is being built on the new you that you've designed and that you've done this year. Our last show is going to be on the 23rd. Our last Dwain Woode MD Live is going to be on the 23rd. So make sure that you keep up with that. We got 2 more shows. We'll be doing our check-ins leading up to that. And then we'll be taking a break from the 23rd to allow you to enjoy time with your family. As we bring in the new year, we'll be back in this space on the 6th. Our community meetup for this month has been moved. We're going to be doing that on the 19th. If you've not done so, go ahead and make sure that you sign up. We're doing that on the 19th because that next week is going to be the holidays. If you've not done so yet, go ahead and do that. Sign up for that. I think what we'll do is maybe I'll just give that link out at that time. We'll see. Okay? But we'll be checking in tomorrow where we talk about the fast, how to prepare for a fast, how to get through a fast successfully, and then how to break a fast. On Saturday night at 9 o'clock Central, we'll be doing video from the vault. And then on Sunday morning at 6 a.m. Central, this week in review. And then, of course, we're right back here for Dwain Woode MD Live on Monday at 6 Central. Thank you for being here. I love being in this space. Really appreciate you all and what you bring to the community and what you bring to the space. Remember, you can make a difference in your life, make a difference in your health. Once again, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here in the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new you. Good night, everybody. We'll see you at our next show. Bye-bye.